Hello, everybody. Welcome to our bi-weekly webinar series. Today, we're going to be talking about our new B2B portal, as well as entertaining just a general Q&A. So without further ado, we're going to get going. So really proud that we have the B2B portal now. It's been developed for about 6 months or so, and the idea basically is to, out of the box, you can create a portal having that your customers can log into and see what you want them to see. Basically, you can have the option of obviously showing them your inventory, which inventory you want them to see, which categories. They can view their account information, the past orders. So not only can they view what you have in stock, but they can view their past orders and invoices. So those are your ship docs here. They can pay. They can pay if you want. If you have the gateway set up, they can pay for product as well with a credit card, and even to the point where you can let them kind of manage their own billing addresses, payment methods, shipping addresses, all that. Now you can turn all this off, the ability to edit, but I have it on. So this customer has 2, and we can let them edit that. So basically, it's not only an e-commerce business-to-business website where they can actually place an order, but even just checking the inventory and being able to check on past orders, print off of past orders, will alleviate a lot of the customer support calls that you're going to get. The studies that we've done is that once you implement something like this and the customers learn how to use the system, they're going to call you less. They're going to go to the website to see what their order status is. If they need a copy of their order, or if they need a copy of their invoices, they can just come in here and get the copy without having to kind of bother you. Right? So it's as easy as that. Right? So how do we set this up? And there's a lot of so here's that invoice. There's a lot of configuration options, and we have a very good guide which Michael actually put together for us, and we put that link in your into the chat window. So if you want to take a look at that, where it kind of goes through all the configurations and the options that you're going to need. So all the goodness is under the admin. You need to be kind of the master admin to activate it. Once you activate it, then an admin can configure it. Right, and the configuration is pretty straightforward. The general information is kind of which logo, and this is something that was highly requested the last time we did a demo, and we actually added it. We actually now added the ability to allow a lead to self-register. We just have to give it a term, usually pay on order, like a credit card. And that allows me to, so if I have that, you get this little thing here, which is registered, and it creates a lead in order time for you. Okay. Creates a lead, and if that lead actually converts into an order, it will certainly, if that lead converts into an order, then you can, then it'll convert to a customer automatically. But it'll be a lead immediately in order time. So that's kind of, and then we have, some links. So if you already have your privacy, terms of use, etc., your copyright notice, and then your color scheme over here. On the products, the first thing you want to do is kind of set up which columns. This is very similar to the lists, how the lists are set up, where you kind of just kind of add the column that you want. Bob, calculator, these are all my custom fields, which we have here. And then you can set up filters, which I have price and groups, and then I'm sorting by my prices. And then there's some other options here, but let's kind of go over here. This over here, these featured products, we can add up to 5, and they show on the opening on the page. Right now I only have one called the stud pair, but you can do up to 5, and you know, they scroll at that point. So that's what this is right here. So you just kind of add another product, and if I refresh the portal, I'll see that there's the other product. And that's how easy that is. Okay. So let's go back into configuration now, and there's a couple of other important things. Sometimes you don't want to show every one of your locations. So I have like a lot of locations here, and I may not want to show, I may want to show just specific locations. So we can do it like that. If you want to show all locations, you just uncheck that. Here's some decimal point preferences. Over here is what inventory you want to show, and whether you want to show inventory that has quantities of 0 or less. By default, I'm showing only items that have quantities in their system. Now I'm also showing the available, but you should also know that we can also show a different of what's called availability, which is instead of available, it shows whether it's in stock or out of stock or on order without showing the actual quantity. Okay, so you have the option to do available or availability, which just shows a word. And in terms of available inventory, you have kind of the options. So we're all familiar with what available is. Available net available is available minus what's on approved sales orders. Pro forma available is net available, so available plus minus what's on approved sales orders plus purchase orders. Okay, and then on hand and owner is self-explanatory. All right. And then on the account side, just one other thing. If I use categories, this is the way to limit. We're going to introduce you to categories, which once you sign up for the portal, there's another profile list called categories. And by checking that, you basically are able to specify specifically which items go into the portal. So right now I only have, for example, 3 items in here. And if I go, let's say, edit this particular item, and I'm going to show you how to get, this is my categories here, and I can add, actually, an item can be included in more than one category. And so we'll see now that if I refresh this page, we'll see that item there. Okay, fairly straightforward. So the other thing that you can do is not only that you can also limit customers to certain categories as well. So that's the kind of the same idea. If you want customers only to see a certain category, then you would check that as well. On the account side, this is where you set whether you want customers to create, being able to edit their payment methods. And this is, if you don't want them to order at all, if you don't want your portal to be an ordering system, but just like a reporting and a view system, you can basically uncheck all of these, and all they can do is log in and look at things. Okay. All right. But I want that checked. Now over here, again, this is in terms of you want to set this up right away, which is the columns when they go into the accounts, which columns they would see when they look at the orders list. Okay. So as you can see here, I have the number, the date, the PO number, the total amount, and the balance. For the invoices and for the orders, I have number, date, PO, total amount, and status. So that's where you see that. Like that. Yeah. And of course, they can filter by dates and stuff like that. So it's very easy for them to look at that. All right. So now one more thing before I kind of leave the configuration, important thing. We can send out emails, confirmations. So if you want an email confirmation to go out, you would check that and you would select a template. Right? So this is, we have templates, and so we reuse them in here. In terms of the form templates, these are again form templates that we've created. And when the customer clicks on a order, we use that template as a display, and also when they want to download their order and print it. So of course, you know that you can find your email templates and your form templates under the admin section under settings. Now that I'm here, let's take a look at this categories here. All right, so it's a hierarchical categories with an unlimited amount of hierarchy that you can create. And as you can see, I have kind of a hierarchical. The lowest is the small here. And in terms of applying categories to items, they can be part of any one of those categories. In terms of applying categories to customers to restrict them, you can only do it on the top level. So if you have hierarchy, so I would only be able to add the portal or add specific for the customer. So before I can add a category, I need to add that box. And I go to my page layouts, and let's look for example, we'll start off with the customer. So here's the customer editor. And under widgets, you'll see category. I put it under default right here. Don't put it on top here. Only put it in the tab section. Okay. So once that's there, I can go to any one of the customers. And we can, like you can see here, is just the top level. That's if we want to restrict customers to certain categories. If you have a lot of categories, you can import those categories using our regular import. Okay. So you first would import the categories, right? And then you can import the combination of item category. Okay. When you're importing your categories, start off, you have to do kind of separate spreadsheets for the top level, and then the next level down, and the next level down. Okay, so make sure that you do that. For category, all you need is the name, and if you have the parent, the name of the parent. But first do the top level, which will have no parents, and then do the kind of the bottom levels after that. Okay. One other thing that we did recently add is kind of more shipping options. So we can use the shipping methods, and I have a lot of shipping methods, but I only want to restrict it to these two. I only want them to use these two, so that's why I put it. If I didn't have any of these shipping methods here, it would show all of them, but I don't want to show USPS. The other option is to just, it's a memo that says shipping will be calculated when the order is received. So we don't even give an amount for the orders. And the third option is to use the carrier accounts. And the carrier accounts, if you're not using that, is a very powerful feature. It allows you to estimate the your shipping. So we'll just go ahead and do that. We'll add one of these to the cart. And we'll check out. I didn't like the shipping address. Let me go back to that. So something's wrong with one of the addresses. That's why it's giving that error. But let me go back to ship methods. Okay, so there's the two ship methods. All right. And then in this case, this customer is, the term is pay it full on order. Right? So you can use any of the terms, partial payment, they can do that as well. Put in the CSV code and submit. All right. So now we have a sales order, and the customer can actually duplicate an order as well. And then ultimately in the in your sales order list, you'll see the new order. So that's what the customer will see, and then obviously you have total visibility of the order within order time itself. So that's pretty straightforward. Yeah. Question.
And we have a question. How does it keep track of assembly items that are not made yet as it pertains to ordering?
How does it keep track? What do you mean by that? Keep track? You mean, does it do like can make or something like that?
Yeah. Can you see an assembly item that's not made yet on the list?
If you don't have inventory, is that what you're saying?
Yes.
You could, if you have, items with no, if in the preferences, you show items that have no inventory, you can do that. And but I see like an opportunity to put in what we call the can make. So even if the assembly doesn't have inventory, we might be able to take a look at whether the components, there are enough inventory to of the components to create one. So we can add that kind of as a feature. And what I'm talking about there is that in order time, you not only see how much of the item is in stock, but based on its components, how much you can make. Is that what you're referring to? And we can take a look at that. Yes and yes. Okay, fine. Good. Thank you. But yeah, it's something that we can, I'll make a note of that, or Michael could make a note of that and let me know after that.
Got it.
Now, last time I showed you kind of a new feature in terms of sending email, and someone made a comment that they don't want to send the form, they just want to send the email template itself, right? So we've now you can do that. Okay, so you can actually send just for their tracking number or whatever, just an email, here's your tracking number, and pull that data from the ship doc. And we also added it to the customers, leads, and contacts, where you can send an email as well. So obviously you have to have a contact, otherwise it's not going to send the email. All right, so that so we added that as well recently. So I can open it up for a few questions on anything that either the portal. One other thing I wanted to talk about the portal is inviting your customers to the portal. As you know, that customers can have contacts. Okay, can have contacts, and they can have multiple contacts. So if I want to invite someone to the portal, I just kind of click that button and I can revoke them as well. So now this person, I now have, or Nelson Brothers, 111 Nelson Brothers has 2 people that they can add to their portal. So that's the way you do that. So obviously you got to create a contact first. So if you create a contact, the contact at least has to have an email. Right? Otherwise, we won't be able to add it to the portal. Okay. Any other questions on how to put the portal together?
If not, we're opening up questions about anything involving order time. You can just click on the top right on chat and just enter your question. We'll answer them in the order that you send them.
Well, I guess I've done a very decent job presenting the portal.
Here come the questions. When sending emails to customers, is it possible to send to all contacts?
The maximum you can do is 500. We don't want to be a spammer.
Okay.
Yeah, I could. So the question is, can I show you how to set up an email template for an invoice? So here's all our email templates. And let's start by cloning the general. Okay. As you know, last time I mentioned that you can now do either text format or HTML format. Let's do text format. And so let's start off with invoice number. And the invoices or sending out invoices is really a ship doc, right? So the record type we want to find is ship doc. Now, once we have the record type, these are what are called the properties fields. So you probably want either the ship doc number, and I just kind of drag it on. So let's format that a little bit. All right, so now that we have that, and I can do, if I have a contact, so I can also take information directly from the contact, company, or user in addition to the ship doc. So maybe, I don't know, the ship doc, I can take it also from the billing contact as well, something like that. Let's do that. Closed. Use invoice. Again, the ship doc number related to your PO number. Okay, so I then find the customer PO and drag that in there. Your tracking number is, and actually put a link here if you want with the information. But I'll just add that tracking number here. If you have questions, please contact me. Regards. And then I'll put my name here. So go to user, maybe my phone number or my email. That. And then the company. So there is your template. So we'll call it invoice email template. Use this to send invoices to customers. Okie doke, that's it. So let's take a look at one of our ship docs here. And I'll just make sure that there's at least something in here. And something in here. And there's the customer PO. So send email. Right? That's it. That's the way to do that. Okay. Contacts. Yes, you can. The email now can also be sent to the contacts as well.
Yeah, but when he's batch emailing, if he batch emails to a customer, is it going to send to all 3 contacts in that customer?
No. It'll. That's a good question. For the customer, it'll send it either default, the primary. I have to check that. Just make that a question. I'm not sure exactly. I think it's the primary contact if it's for the customer, but you can also send it from the contacts list itself. That's my guess. It's either from the primary contact, and if that's not there, then it's either the email from the billing address or the shipping address we can use as well.
And a similar question, can multiple email addresses be added to a customer so that when the ship doc is synced to QuickBooks, the invoices are sent to multiple addresses?
I mean, it could be from a batch or multiple. I have to take a look at that. I don't know. I have to maybe expand that a little bit, I guess.
This is where we get our best feature requests.
Right.
The next question was, are you planning to have dashboards in the warehouse tab, like pick performance tracking and number of orders processed?
Sure. Yeah, we can add that. Let's put you're taking all these questions, right?
Definitely. I'm notating all of it. Does anyone else have any questions? You can ask now.
By the way, in terms of the pick performance tracking, you could do, for example, if you're shipping, there's a couple of things you can do. Because on a sales order, you can see how much was ordered and how much was actually filled, right? The ratio of those two is your fill rate. Okay? You can also measure the promise date to the actual ship date on a sales order, and in which case how you're doing with your lead time. And those are reports, and I think we can, definitely do where the reports are all driven, the dashboards are all driven from the reports anyway. It wouldn't be hard. Now, if you really wanted that, we could actually customize. We can, as long as the report is in a kind of a similar format, like a date or a pie, this type of the data, we can actually replace some of those, our template or our default reports for another report that you might want to show here as an alternative. What we plan to do is have, the ability to actually select the report, select the type of graph, so you can, do your own dashboarding. When an item is picked, is it taken out of inventory or is still there until market shipped? Okay, well, that's a really good question, and a lot of people get confused on that one. Let's take this one for an example. I have this column called available, and I also have on hand. You can see here this is committed. If I look at the transactions and I filter, I even add just the column committed, I'll see probably one or two ship docs that are still not fulfilled. They're still not fulfilled. So that's why I may have, these committed over here. You can see here that I have a total of 7 committed on these 2 ship docs, and the reason they are committed is because we have not marked it as shipped. So the minute I mark it as shipped, let's go back to the other one. It's more obvious. So the minute I mark this one as shipped, right now it's picked and I go shipped. But essentially it's not available anymore, but it's in inventory, it's on hand, but it's not available to sell once it's on a ship dock. So now there should only be 1 committed, which there are, because I've just shipped the other ones, and now even though I have 1 on hand here, one of them is already committed, so really available to sell is only 5. That was a good question. A lot of people ask that question. All right, Michael, any final words?
Nope, I think that was a pretty quick webinar. Also, if you have any additional questions that you didn't get to ask, make sure to just send them to me at michael@ordertime.com, and I can make sure that they're either in a future webinar video or we can just send you the answer immediately.
All right. Well, thank you very much for attending. In a few days, probably early next week or sometime next week, you'll see this video, this webinar appear on our videos section, where you can look at all the past webinars that we've done. Okay. So expect to see that in a few days.